Wednesday. Oh my goodness, this week is
Hump day.
right? Hump day. It's flown by. Somehow, I don't know about you, Vince, but since I've been an entrepreneur, holidays are weird. Right?
Yes,
Like, I never know what day it is anymore. Do you have that problem?
I do. I was off. Well, I wasn't off. I went to Disneyland on Monday and didn't realize that it was. I mean, I knew it was Mother's Day, but I didn't realize it would be like a busy day at Disneyland because technically it's a holiday, so people are taking their mothers out and about. So I was like, why is it so busy here? And I'm like, oh yeah, because it's kind of a holiday weekend. Whereas to me, it was just another day of the week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, somebody messaged me this morning and they're like, Amy, is your gym doing their normal Memorial Day Murph on Memorial Day? And I was like, wait, when's Memorial
When's
Day?
Memorial Day? Exactly.
I don't think they
I'm gonna be at Seller Summit next week in Florida, and the tail end of that is actually Memorial Day. So I decided to stay some extra days, and I'm like, why is it so expensive at the hotel? I'm like, oh, it's Memorial Day. Whatever.
Well, I suppose we should say hi to everybody. Hi, guys.
Yes,
Me
hi
and Vince are
everyone.
just hanging out, talking about holidays. But we're going to talk with Vince today about a topic that is near and dear to everyone's heart, which is
Oh, of course.
PPC, Amazon PPC.
Everyone loves PPC.
I know it's my favorite topic of all time, really. The only platform where I can't get away with organic only is Amazon. I can brag that all my companies I've grown without paid ads, to 7 figures, but I can't brag about that with my Amazon brand.
Nope, not anymore. Unless you have something very new, niche.
Yeah,
It's a
I
product
did.
no one's ever seen before, then you can kind of still get away with a little bit
Yes,
of
we
a
actually do pretty often turn off our PPC completely because we do have a unique, never seen before product that solves a problem.
Yep.
And so we can actually turn off PPC. And when we're out of stock on Amazon, people actually go on our website and on our terrible website and buy. So that's true, Vince. So speaking of that, before we get into PPC, can you tell us a little bit about you and your background?
Yeah, sure. So Vince Montero, for everyone who doesn't know me, I'm mostly known for my time at Helium 10, where I was there for almost 3.5 years. But I've been in the digital marketing space for almost 19 years now. So long time. Seen the evolution of everything related to digital. I saw the first, display ads on websites, like back when I used to build websites. So I've really seen everything from the beginning. I started Amazon specific with a client of mine who, like we're talking about, this is back in 2017. They tried PPC and they were like, I don't know what this is. Luckily, I had already been on so many ad tech platforms that I picked it up pretty quickly. And literally between 17 and 19, all my clients just became Amazon PPCs, just became sellers because it was a need. It was, that was that, 2017 through 19 was that turning point, like what we're talking about, where you kind of have to do PPC. That's when the competition really started, flooding in. And so it was a skill set that was still in its youth, and even still at Helium 10. They didn't have anyone. I mean, they have Bradley Sutton still, who now knows a lot about PPC. Back in 2019, though, he didn't have any background in it. I was fortunate enough, to live close to the Helium 10 offices, which are here in Irvine, 20 minutes away from me still. But they didn't have anybody. So I came on board, basically built their first PPC tool. I'm not a developer. I just said, hey, here's all the things that I'm doing manually for my clients for the past 2 years. It'd be super cool if we could build a tool to do a lot of this heavy lifting, right? And so we did, and we iterated upon that. And the thing that I loved most about what I did there, and again, mostly what I'm known for, is the marketing and the training. I used to have a monthly live like this AMA, Ask Me Anything session called Tacos Tuesday. Tacos for total ACOS, not just the food. So I got pretty well known for that, and I used to. I was just at Prosper a couple months ago, and I still heard somebody say, I'm walking down the hall and they're like, "Hey, it's Mr. Tacos." And so my smart ass reply to that is always, "That's Sir Tacos to you," right? So now that I'm a Trivium group, I started Sir Tacos Tuesday, which is still a monthly AMA session. I have one coming up at the end of the month with Ritu from PPC Ninja. So I'm
I
excited
love
to have.
Ritu.
Yeah, I'm excited to have her on my episode, and we're going to talk about ChatGPT and AI and everything like that, which you recently talked about with Chad Rubin. I saw.
Yes, yeah, and Ritu, actually, I have Ritu on tomorrow to talk
Oh,
about
perfect.
AI. So
Tell
yeah, it'll
her I
be
said
good.
hello.
Yes.
Good. Then we don't have to talk about AI too much because I'm still learning.
Speaking of AI, thank you, Vince, for opening it up. You guys can join us. We're doing a virtual AI summit next week. It's virtual. You can access the replays, but 16 different presentations, learning so much about AI. So definitely, you guys join us. I've put in the ticker tape here. You can use code AMAZINGAI at amazingathome.com/AI and get your ticket right now. The sale ends after this weekend for only $49. So like that's stupid cheap. Plus you get access to the replays for an extra week there. So anyway, check that out, you guys. But let's get nerdy about PPC for a minute.
Sure.
So Vince, the first question I have for you is, how have you seen Amazon PPC evolve? Like, what's happening? Because I've seen a lot of changes. I mean, every time I get in there, there's something new on the dashboard, and I'm like, what are you doing today, Amazon? What's happening? So tell me about that. Like, what are you seeing as an evolution? What are you excited about?
Yeah. So again, I've been there since 2017 in it. I saw the first headline search ads pop up, which are now sponsored brand ads, which is the ad right below the search bar. So I don't know. It's interesting. I've seen them launch a couple of things and then pull them back. But I really strongly feel that the trend kind of is they're moving towards branding elements. Anything that's kind of a branding or will help brand your product on Amazon. That's the type of campaign types that they're really kind of focusing on. So it used to just be focus on the search results, which is your sponsored product ads. And that will always be there, and they'll always be very powerful because again, they look kind of native. So shoppers might not know they're clicking on an ad when they're looking at those ones, that pop up in the search results. But there's lots of different placements, even on the product detail page, that are going to be brand focused, larger images. You see a lot of lifestyle imagery now. So they're going to continue to expand upon that. You have lifestyle imagery that you can put in the sponsored brand campaign that I just talked about at the top, your sponsored display ads. So I really kind of feel that they're focusing on branding elements so that it looks less, I guess to me, when I'm shopping on Amazon, it still feels like it's not obtrusive. And that one way you can do that is by just using images, right? Or video. So I kind of feel like they're just going to keep moving in that direction. And so it's equally important then, given that sellers get brand registered, because you can only get these branding type of campaigns really if you're brand registered. And I kind of feel that Amazon is really going to start focusing more on those types of sellers and their needs moreover than if you're not brand registered.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm trying to bring up something that Tomer showed us the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Our little, Google is changing up search where they are, let me see if I can find it and actually show everybody. It is insane. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys this because it's insane. I want you to pay attention when I share this video. Pay attention to what search is changing to, and then let's talk about how we need to change our content and our advertising because this is so crazy. Let's see. All right, let's see here. Share. So can you guys see that?
There you go.
I'ma make them talk like, whoa. Move fast, move slow. Catch me on a roll. Come say hello. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
yes, yes.
Come say hello. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
You got this. Let's go.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? And the answer is
Yes.
no.
Yes.
No.
Make 'em talk like whoa, 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 whoa. I'ma make 'em talk like.
I'ma make 'em talk like whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa is right. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's what's happening with search, guys. And if you think Amazon's not going to be far behind, and think about, they're pushing Amazon Lives like crazy. Like everybody's now, you can see like a lot of gurus are now posting like, just do Amazon reviews with Amazon Live and you can make money, right? Think about how content is going to be played into search. And so the brands that have content out there are going to get so much more external traffic to Amazon. And not only that, when Amazon integrates AI into their searches, everything
it's going to explode. Yeah, it's amazing. Speaking of evolution, like I remember back in the days when Google was the place where you would just kind of like browse and then you would just check Amazon to see if you could get a better price point, right? Well, that's not what people do. People just go to Amazon now. So they are browsing and shopping that. So it kind of feels like now Google is kind of like trying to get back, trying to change that shopper behavior now and get people to, browse and search again back on Google. And that's probably a really strong way to do it based on what you just shared.
It's going to be insane. So you guys just make sure that you're not just, of course, we all know sponsored products ads. That's how we rank traditionally. We know that headline search ads and other ads like video ads, they don't rank us, right? We've done tons of testing with that, but we can't just ignore those other ad types.
Absolutely.
And we can't just ignore content for our brands because of the way that the world is evolving and the way that advertising is going to evolve. Imagine.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest tips that I give to people. And we're kind of jumping ahead in the question, but it's utilize all the brand types or campaign types. Yes, exactly what you just said. And yes, they're going to have lower. They might have higher ACoS, right, on some of these campaign types, but it's about the visibility, right? It's just about how many times a shopper is browsing on Amazon now, because we know they're browsing. I mean, we have a 2-week pixel for these campaign types, right? Sponsor brand, sponsor display. Why? Well, Amazon knows that people can take up to 2 weeks to make a decision. Otherwise, they wouldn't have that 2-week pixel, right? So that means if there are, and I've seen this with my clients that I have more expensive products, definitely takes a longer time. Lower price point products, sure, you can probably make a decision within a few minutes. But it's important to be in the consideration cycle, and the only way really to consistently know that you're in that consideration cycle of the shopper is through PPC.
Yeah, and headline search ads, they really do kind of pop out at you. This morning, I was on Amazon looking for some unflavored protein powder. I'm trying to get some more protein in my life. And, that headline search ad for Vital Proteins just popped right out at me. And I was like, wow. And they have the reviews showing on there now.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
have you seen the new video placements that are there?
In headline search ads?
Yes.
No, I haven't noticed those, but
if you do a search for crutches on Amazon, you'll probably see one of my clients, but it's a video, and it is, speaking of trends and speaking of the video that we've been talking about. So you guys know when you're shopping on Amazon, you have a video typically in the middle of the page. Well, now you're seeing it a lot in the bottom of the page as well. So you got 2 placements of video. Do you see it? You do. I can tell by your face.
Wait for it. Hang on. I gotta share so everybody else can see.
You gotta share. So,
that's the wrong...
earlier this year, guys, there's some new capabilities with sponsored brand videos. You can add ad groups now. I don't understand that point of it, but you can also now direct to a store And if you do that, if you have a new and this is a brand new campaign type we're looking at. So again, all she did is type in crutches, and right below is a video
And right
plan.
there, I can go to
Super
the I Walk Free store on Amazon.
It only goes to the store. You can select a page on your store, but it only goes to a store. And typically most campaign types or most video go just to the product detail page. This is a new campaign type.
What's cool about this is I'm not even looking at reviews or prices.
Right.
And if I'm the customer, I have no idea that this is an ad. I'm not looking at videos or prices. I'm just seeing, of course, the customer isn't seeing my Seller Tools plugin. But we can see, wow, I mean, they've got 6% of the top 3 sales share for the keyword crutches, and that has something to do with it.
Now, keep in mind, scroll down. There's probably another video in the middle, and it might actually be the same one.
It's not. I mean, and
it's not.
The thing is,
and there's a video on the bottom. So typically for this search, there's a video at the bottom too.
And down here, we see I'm looking at prices and I'm looking at reviews but up here, I'm not considering prices and reviews, right? Like I'm really, okay, well, I want to learn more about that. And because it's taking me to their store, I don't have all these other distractions. So that's very, very powerful.
Yeah. Imagine on your mobile phone, right? You did the search on your mobile, you're just seeing the ad or a video. You're not seeing anything even below.
And
in the search result, unless you scroll, of course.
So, and I think sometimes because it doesn't, I'm going to scroll back up so we can focus on this. I think sometimes because it doesn't show the price and reviews, if you're a heavy price and review shopper, this may affect you. So this morning when I searched for unflavored protein powder, and let's just do that search real quick here.
Sure.
Unflavored protein powder, because I want to show you, I actually wanted to see the reviews and the price per ounce, right? So when I saw this appear, all I saw was the reviews, but I don't know what the price is.
Right.
So now I'm like, I don't want to click into there because that's going to take me somewhere else. So then I just shopped here. So it wasn't as effective for me for the headline search ad here because they don't show the price.
Yeah, it depends on the product. It really does. Like, again, that my client, that's a very specific, very unique product, and it's very visual. Like most people, when they think about crutches, they don't think of something like a pirate peg leg, which is basically what that is. So if you've got a product though that really needs visuals to explain what it is or describe differences in yours versus another, that's a super powerful placement. Now, again, this is a new campaign type, and typically with new campaign types, they don't have they have higher ACoS. It's not about that. It's just the fact that if you've injured yourself and you need a crutch and you go on there and you're like, oh, what is this thing? Yes, it's a higher price point, but look at all the things I can do with this versus not. People are going to click on it.
Very effective. Like, and
curiosity.
When it's crutches, I don't care as much about the price. Right? There's a million unflavored protein powders. So I'm like, I do care about the price. I care about the reviews. So just seeing the reviews without the price, it didn't help me make my decision. So in that case, I didn't click on the headline ad. I was on my mobile. It was very compelling, but I was like, ooh, I just don't know. So I scrolled down and I saw their brand in the scroll, and I was like, oh, there's the price, there's the reviews. And so that really helped me. But speaking of that, we all have to know. We have to know what our customer is, what our product is, the customer journey. We have to be thinking about these things.
And the goal of the campaign, right? So, like, if you've got a brand new product and you've got money, you might want to do this campaign type for that visibility. Like, that is straight up the best visibility you're going to get. And in when you're in launch mode, you're all about collecting the data. Right, as well. So that is a powerful way to do it. So, but I think to your point, keeping in mind, what is the goal of this campaign versus the other campaigns? Because they do have kind of different intentions.
Yeah, and that's what I ask people too. Like, what depends. They're like, oh, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I open up all these new campaigns? I'm like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to launch? Are you trying to boost your sales? Do you have the inventory for that? Like, so speaking of that, what are some of the common mistakes that you see that sellers make with PPC that you really wish they wouldn't?
Oh my goodness. When I'm looking at when I'm auditing, potential, client, and Trivium Group does this too. And by the way, Trivium is a PPC agency that is run by my good friend Mina Elias, who basically said, "Hey, come over and do your content and your training for me, since you're not doing it for Helium 10 anymore." So they are a full service agency, and they audit as well. And one of the things that I see consistently is just really bad campaign setup, just not knowing which kind of match types or putting all match types in one campaign, putting 500 keywords in a campaign, not having any kind of clear designation in your titles, like not putting in like the product type or maybe the campaign type. Like if it's a video campaign, put video in the title, and then you can just search for video and you see all your video campaigns. Really, the biggest mistake that I see is people when and it's because they don't know, right? If you're brand new, you probably just don't know what is the best way to set up my campaigns. But there are videos out there and there's training out there. Mina and I did a full PPC course actually at Helium 10. So if anyone watching is a Helium 10 member, at diamond level and up, there's a Amazon a PPC Academy that Mina and I filmed last year. And when we spend Mina spends a lot of time on just campaign structures because it's a big pain point. You can't scale, you can't optimize effectively if your campaigns are set up in not the most optimal ways, right? And so that again, I gave some examples, but that could be, you're launching 4 different auto campaigns for the same product, but your naming convention is off, so you don't know because you didn't name them correctly. There's just all kinds of really simple mistakes that people make when setting up their campaigns that actually then take a while to unwind, so that you can then properly look at the data and then optimize it down and then scale.
Yeah, I also have noticed that when I'm auditing, I don't do PPC management, you guys, but I do audit people's campaigns and help them get them set up and help them hire their first PPC people, or their VA. And something that I noticed too is naming conventions are huge, and organization.
Organization
So
in general.
sometimes if you have too many, like naming conventions, just say what it is. Say the product, say what you're trying to do with it. Was it for launch? Say what type of campaign
Is it a ranking campaign? Is it a branded keyword campaign?
Exactly.
Like, simple things.
And then after a while, I like to rename my campaigns after a while, because let's say I optimize one, right? And I get it down to where basically it's like one keyword because the other keywords didn't, maybe I have a launch campaign where, I'm trying to rank for 3 and like 3 or 5 keywords. And then one of them just outshines the rest, and I'm not going to spend the money on the other ones. Then, the other ones are off and I've only got this one keyword on, but it still says like launch ranking. That doesn't make sense.
Right. You need to
call it what it is. Unflavored protein exact match,
I do the same thing with auto campaigns. So auto campaigns, I'm one of those people that promote never turning them off. Just, if you get as much as you can out of them, you're pulling all the search terms out and you're targeting them manually, and you're one of those people then optimizes it down or turns those makes those keywords negative so they can go to the other campaigns. Just turn that auto campaign into a low bid auto campaign. Just make it a super low bid. It's going to pick up remnant traffic at 2:00 in the morning. It's not going to have a lot of sales, but they generally have pretty good sales. Well, what does that mean? Then you need to change that name to low bid auto. What's the product? So that okay, this is the function of this auto. It's no longer, this auto campaign is no longer my research campaign, right? I'm just using it for remnant traffic.
Yeah, I love that. So I have another question for you.
Sure.
My next question is, can you share some of the key strategies to stay competitive in Amazon PPC in 2023 without breaking the bank? Because dang, getting expensive things like $3 a click. Although some of my clients have like super cheap products, like it's like 20 cents a click, and I'm like, where did you find this thing? It's amazing, right? But how can we? It is getting expensive. People are wanting to run lots of different campaigns. We talked about that. How do we keep our spend down but still be effective?
It's kind of different for everybody, right? Because everyone's margins are different. And if you've got really low margins, it's going to be really, really tight. But the one universal thing, regardless of margins, that can actually help you not break the bank is quite simply listing optimization. Honestly, making sure that your detail page looks as good as or better than your closest competitor. And that means at least, I don't know, once a month, every 6 weeks, doing that search again to make sure, does my product detail page look as good, right? Or better than my closest competitor or competitors? That is something that I see people just not like. They do a great job. They get their A+ content and premium content. They're putting it in there. Well, if you haven't done the premium, try to do that. If you haven't done A+ content, do that. Because really, at the end of the day, PPCs are only as good as the listing, right? So PPC is just the road. It's you're driving on a road and you see a billboard on the side and you're like, oh, cool, that's for a plumber. Well, I don't need that plumber. And but then something breaks in your house, your pipe breaks, and you're like, oh, I need that plumber. Well, you remember, right? So that's when you then call, or maybe they have a physical store and you go to their offices to check them out or do an appointment. Well, if your physical store looks like crap, right? Whatever product that you're selling, if it looks bad, which is your detail page, people aren't going to buy. That's another common mistake I see, but it's also really the only way to make sure that your ACoS stays down. Because what's going to happen if your listing is optimized as much as you can at the beginning, but then you continually optimize it and you continually take advantage of all the creative updates that you can do now that Amazon keeps releasing, right? You can, speaking of video, you can now put video in your A+ content, right? So taking advantage of those elements to make sure that you stand out. That way, when you're paying for that click and that shopper goes to there, you're more likely going to get a conversion. That is going to keep your costs down versus not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, like back to this page, this search page on unflavored protein powder. Another thing that I love to do, and I think that this is so important, Vince, as you mentioned, like we need to look not only at our offer, like what does our page look like, our main image on the page for our main keywords, right? Our page one keywords, but then also like look at our title, look at our reviews, right? Look at our price.
Yes.
All of that. And the other thing that I love to do, this is the seller.tools Chrome extensions. It's one of my favorites. It's free, you guys, it's amazing. But look at this. So here we've got IsoPure here. This is all sponsored product ads at the top of the page. They're paying for top of search placement. And let's look here. Here we can see this guy here, IsoPure. He's at $28.94, $1.81 an ounce. The organic keyword visibility. So this is where their positions 50 or better organically. This has, IsoPure has organic positions of 50 or better for 1,393 keywords. They have organic keyword dominance for position 6 or better for 140. Now we see this one who's more expensive, collagen peptides, more expensive, $32. Yes, a lot more reviews, okay, but they're more expensive. And you can see, look at their revenues almost double. But look at how many keywords, 4,000 ranked organic keywords, position 50 or better, and 418 position 6 or better. So if you're not reverse searching your competitors and figure out where they're ranking. I love pulling it up on Smart Scout and looking at the ad spy and seeing what's happening there. And I'll do this with my clients all the time. We'll bring up their competitors and we'll go, hey, all right, this is where we don't have any coverage. We'll make sure that we've got that organic ranking in the listing, that we have that coverage, and then that we're creating PPC campaigns to actually drive traffic to that. So if you have a better offer, and so, because there's nothing wrong with IsoPure, they actually have a better offer here, and they're a really high quality protein powder, but we can see they're not doing so good in the keyword department and the organic placement department, and your PPC goes off of relevancy. So you're going to do better, as Vince says, like take the time to look at the page. Like I asked him for what people can do to stay competitive, and he didn't say run more ads. No. He didn't say hire me. He said, guys, take a look. What are you doing here? Right? That's huge. So important. I mean, look at what IsoPure, if they were my client, I'd be like, what are we doing? we are missing out on $30,000 a month and I want it back. Let's go.
Exactly. I
So,
might call them after this call.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Yes. Tell them that we called them out on this. They can watch the Amazing at Home live stream, and we can tell them how we can help them. You and me together, Vince, we can help them.
Yeah. I'll do the PPC. You can do all the rest.
That sounds good. I'll do the listing optimization. Amazing. I love that. That is really, really a good tip.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a basic tip, but if you really think about it, it's really the thing that's gonna conversion rate is huge for PPC. And that's the best way to make sure it stays high and keeps your costs down.
Yes. Okay. So my next question for you, what new PPC strategy or tip can you offer that can be beneficial for 2023?
Yeah, so we kind of already covered that new video ad placement. That was going to be kind of like one of my tips, but because most people don't know it's there, and when you do searches, it's still not common. So it's still, if you get in now, I guess that's a tip. If you have video, build out that new campaign type if it aligns with your goals, right? Definitely take advantage of that. But another tip, also kind of video and creative related and branding related, which is what we've been talking about, is yes, we do our due diligence. We look at keywords that we want to be ranked for. We do our keyword research and such, and we launch the campaigns. Well, there's also something to be said about looking at the data in retrospect. Like, look at your PPC data, look at your search term reports, figure out if there is sales coming from specific features or benefits that you might not be highlighting or may not be highlighting in the front of your video. And if you see sales, so let's say, for example, you sell a bedside table, right? It's a portable bedside table, so people can eat in bed. And so you've got creative, and you got a cool video showcasing it and everything like this. But the search term report shows you, oh, look, I'm getting a lot of sales that include the term folding or foldable, right? I'm getting a lot of sales from these kind of search terms. Oh, but my video doesn't even show that it folds. Right? It doesn't show that it's portable. Well, you have sales right there. So if you update your video, or let's say the folding feature is in the back of the video, we'll pull it forward. So this does, involve a little bit of, creative work, but pull it forward, make some campaigns specifically to those search terms. Your static creative, your lifestyle imagery. Make a lifestyle image of it folded, or maybe side by side and folded and unfolded. You can basically build out PPC campaigns specific to certain features or benefits of search terms that you're seeing, and have fairly you're fairly certain you're going to get sales because you already have the sales.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So build out multiple creative based campaigns, but using data that you already have that shows you that you're going to get sales from this. If you're
converting already for a keyword that says, water bottle with handle, and you're like page 1, you're converting like crazy, like maybe call out that feature in your video, like handle, zoom out, right?
Yeah. And then target those keywords, like use the search term report, right? But then pull them as you do when optimizing PPC, look at your search terms, see what's selling, and make PPC campaigns out of them, or manually target them. So you can really just make these kind of like sub campaigns that you can tweak the creative, static creative or video if you want to take advantage of that. And so I don't know that I feel like when more and more people start taking advantage of that, they're speaking to the audience for exactly the thing that they're looking for. And the cool thing about looking at your data in reverse is that sometimes you think of features, and let's say that a main feature is the thing that sells the most, but you might be surprised about getting sales from other types of features that you didn't even think were that big of a deal in the first run. And so maybe you didn't even put them in. So I think that that's something that people should be looking at and taking action on. You have a lot of data that we can get from the reports.
And speaking of keywords, we can look at product targeting. Ryan's here. Ryan has a question for us. Ryan, thank you for all your questions. First, you said video ads, terms of service, mind blowing, right? But But then you said you haven't tested out the new expanded product targeting in sponsored products campaigns. How are you finding it? Have you tested it yet, Vince?
It's a loaded question. So yes and no. I just started testing it in an account that I have in Canada, just because I'm trying to get, or is it the UK? It might be the UK. I'm just trying to break ground more because those are harder marketplaces. I have tried them in the US, and I only recommend them for products that are selling, like your top sellers. I don't recommend it for things that are brand new or that you're just launching. I kind of feel like just taking advantage of the auto campaigns and really making sure you're staying on top of it. It's almost the same thing, right? Because in the auto
Yeah.
campaigns, you're going to get ASINs there as well.
Yeah.
So to
And then you
me,
can really get that information. So I tested it yesterday with a client that has a brand new, never seen before product.
mm,
And we're not having good luck with the auto campaigns because it's a new, never seen before product. And the auto campaigns are product targeting all over the place, right? So it's like, so what we're trying, we are having luck with our product targeting campaigns where we're not doing the expanded.
right.
But because we're very limited and the auto campaigns are not working for that product, I just set up a campaign yesterday with the expanded option because I was like, okay, I want to target this specific product, but an expanded version of it. And hopefully, and I used the ones that we were actually doing well on. And so I'm going to test it and see how it works. But I would agree with you. It's most of the time the auto campaigns do better in that case, right?
And it's pulling the same kind of data. So, it's expanded product targeting is one of those things where I'm looking at it and like, well, they're just turning the ASIN into an auto campaign. So I like your idea. Use it sparingly. If you're going to do it, just target one ASIN or maybe two, like max, because that's what you're doing. You're effectively turning an ASIN into an auto campaign, right? For that category, for that ASIN.
In this case, like we definitely, we already had some data to work with so that we knew like, hey, these products are working. Where I think otherwise you're just basically creating a product targeting campaign, which if you're using it for launch, I wouldn't market expanded. I would be very targeted of those products you can beat, right? Like, yes, I know I can beat this because if you're doing expanded, then it could screw up your data, right?
It could. Exactly.
Okay, cool. So we have so many questions, and
awesome. I love it.
I have another. I have another one. I want you to share some case studies. Do you have some examples? So you've been really good at helping us get better at our PPC. You've worked with some really great brands. What are some case studies that highlight some things that you've done that have really worked well?
Well, I know we're talking about video a lot, but I actually did a case study when video in general, when the video ad placement just came out in late 2021. So it was a while ago, but I did run a case study. It was while I was at Helium 10. It actually got picked up on the Amazon Ads blog. I think it's still there. But what it showcased, I had a client that didn't start video until early 2022. And what it showcased was the power of branding, like we're talking about. What I saw after 6 weeks looking at sales before and 6 weeks after the video campaign types had launched was a 25% increase, just bump in overall sales. So sales lift in general across the 4 video campaigns, the 4 products that we included it. We just saw a really strong lift. We also saw that the video campaigns took about 20%. They were at 20% of the total traffic. So they actually really did take a lot of the traffic in total of that 6 weeks. So to me, it just said, hey, anything that's branding related, even kind of lifestyle imagery, anything that's compelling really does work in lifting the overall sales, in lifting the overall, and it makes sense. It's lifting I kind of think of it as lifting the status of the product, right? If you've got a shopper and they're looking for something and you've got a video ad playing or you got really nice lifestyle creative, even if you're if you're brand new, it looks really, really good. You look like a professional, large brand. And that's one thing I love about Amazon is you really can play with the big guys if you just do it really well. you can look just like the large big brand that's been there for a couple of years or 5 years or
Sometimes
longer.
you can even do better than those large big brands. I love making retail ready packaging
Yes.
and making it look like, it's been found in a big store, and that allows you to just really like overtake your competitors.
Yeah, exactly. So again, there were some other stats in there. I was going to look it up before. I probably should have. But those are some numbers that I just remember from doing that case study. And in general, I think that people that take advantage, people that are early adopters of campaign types, like that video, like the video campaign that we just showed you guys. Again, I say new campaign type because you have to build that campaign. If you're already running video campaigns right now, it won't just show up there. You literally have to build a brand new campaign with an ad group direct to a store, and then it might show in that top position we just shared you. But that being said, people that are early adopters, I really do see, a lot of people are afraid of doing beta. They're afraid of, this campaign type is still new. I like testing the beta stuff because if you get in and it works, you're early. Like you're in there for that placement ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
And we know Amazon's loves relevancy and it loves history, right? So that's the other major thing that it likes besides relevancy is history. It likes how long has this been running? So when you're early adopter, I really feel anyway for my clients that's been really successful, and it's in several cases, not all, but it's kept costs down because we've been there. We were already there, and then everyone else came in and started using this campaign type.
Yeah.
Like sponsored display, using creative for sponsored display, for example. When sponsored display was just out, there was no creative. But then, I could put creative in here now. So if you're an early adopter of that, you're one of the first people to put lifestyle imagery in your sponsored display campaigns. Boom, you see an instant uptick. And if you're early enough, it can help keep CPCs down in general, I think.
Yeah, I love it. That is a great tip. So speaking of being early adopters, figuring things out, when should a seller consider using a consultant or agency to help with their PPC campaigns?
Immediately, call me right now. No, just kidding. No, this is a great question. I only work with clients that are already doing PPC that understand their PPC. I found this with Atomic is when I built out the PPC tool for Helium 10, we got a lot of people that were new sellers, which is what Helium 10 really is primarily for. But they didn't understand the value of the tool because they had never been in PPC before. So I really strongly feel like new sellers should be in their PPC campaigns in their account, have them at least for a couple months before you start looking for outside help or outside services. And number one, it really gets you a solid foundation for what is this thing? How does it work? What does data collection mean? What does optimization mean? So that you can then say, okay, that's a lot of time. I want to give that to somebody else. But then you actually know what that agency or consultant is supposed to be doing or should be doing, or what solutions do they bring to the table that has been a pain point for you because you've been doing your PPC. If you don't have that experience, then you don't know what the consultant or the agency is supposed to be doing.
You don't know if they have no idea what they're doing or if they really do know what they're doing, and you're not communicating with them. Agencies are only as good as, the information that you give them, right? Because of course, they're good at their job and they know how to build out campaigns and they know what to do. But if you really know, Ryan, the one who was asking the question, he was helping me with my brand, and we were doing some things, in different kind of like playing with some different categories, moving some products around, just testing some different things. And there was information that I knew, like, oh no, in the past I have not converted for that. That wasn't working, right? So I'm willing to try it again, but with these parameters because of X, Y, or Z. So I agree. Same thing. If you come to me, I don't do PPC management, so you're going to have to see Vince. But if you come to me and you go, hey, Amy, who can I hire for my PPC management? I'm going to go, let's sit down together first and make sure you actually understand what you're doing. Because that way you can give proper direction, guidance, and you can also understand what it is that they're doing and the value that they're bringing to you. So I think that is the best advice.
And it's if squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So if you happen to go with a larger agency, for example, and you don't know, you see something is going wrong, but you don't know why, or you don't know what, so you don't even raise your hand, right? Well, that means you're potentially,
that money's
losing
gone.
money. Yeah, that money's already spent. So if you don't know the right questions to ask, basically is what I'm saying, then potentially you might get lost in the shuffle, depending on how big the agency is. So it's super important for me for people to have a really solid foundation of PPC before taking them on.
Got it. Love it. And speaking of new sellers and learning, what is your advice for them when they're just starting to navigate the world of PPC? What should they be looking at? How should they be learning?
Yeah. So I really kind of feel like we kind of talked about it a little bit. I think understand that PPC is your marketing budget. It's not the thing that makes the sales, right? We've already talked about it's your listing that makes the sales. So coming into it with the right mindset is super important, and understanding that this is my marketing budget. If I was going to open up a store, a physical store, and I was selling shoes, I'd probably have to do a billboard or maybe a bench ad, maybe a magazine article, maybe a radio. You need to get people into that store. So understanding it's a line item. So, and you may not make money back from that. Like, just having the understanding of PPC is for visibility. You might get sales from it, especially if you're brand new. That's great, but you might not. You might just be in data collection mode. So getting people out of the mindset of PPC is supposed to make me sales at the beginning, especially, is super important to me. Get them to say, do your research, figure out a budget, set that budget aside, and understand, okay, my goal is 100% ACOS, for example. I don't want to lose all that money, but I don't want to, don't expect to make sales. So as much as I spend, hopefully I'm gonna get that back in sales. So you have, it's a net loss at that point. But that has to be okay, because your product's brand new. You're using PPC to get visibility. You're using PPC to get data points, which tells you, hey, which keywords work, which search terms work, which ones don't work. And then you can trim things down. So I think getting brand new sellers to understand that the mindset of PPC has to be, especially at launch, I need to set a budget aside. I might not make any money from this, but that's okay. And I'm going to be able to scale, within, after a month or two of collecting data. Then I'll be able to scale things and optimize things down. And then also super important, get brand registered right away. As soon as you can, before you even launch your listings, I've heard some people say, because again, all the campaign types we've been talking about, the video and the sponsor, the creative, you can't get those unless you're brand registered. And again, I strongly feel Amazon's going to start focusing more and more and more just on the needs of brand registered sellers versus non-brand registered sellers. Like that's just kind of the direction I'm getting. So super important, even if you're just starting out, to make sure you're checking that trademark. Oh, is my name already out there? Because if you don't, then you're going to have a big nightmare of a time after the fact. You have to change your name. Mina even had to do this. Mina had to change his name of his electrolyte powder from what it was to Hard Work, HRDWRK, which is a great name, but it's a big hassle. Spent all this time
because he was already ranking and selling for the and then you have to hire a lawyer to actually, because you can't just change your brand name. So I agree. Take the time for your foundation, really set it up, and don't think of this as a get rich quick thing. This is, this can be really a powerful thing. You're building it and selling it, and that's really what where your big payoff comes. And it can really be a beautiful thing, but you gotta think big. You gotta think like Jeff Bezos, who always had a really forward, everything in Bezonomics is 5 years, minimum 5 years in the future. If you work at Amazon and you're an Amazonian and you give a briefing on a new project or anything, it has to be minimum 5 years in the future projection, or they won't even listen to it.
Exactly.
So very important for all of us to be forward thinkers. Yes, even though I'm a new seller, yes, we encourage you, get a product out there, learn the ropes. We're not saying you're going to be an expert the very first one, but as Vince is saying, take it seriously. And once you get that first product out there and this is what I'm going to do, then okay, be that forward thinker, really set up that foundation, take that extra time. I love it.
Absolutely.
Well, we have spent a lot of time together today, Vince, and I've had so much fun hanging out with you
Oh, good.
and nerding out about
too. It's been great.
How can people work with you if they need some
Sure.
help with their PPC? Do you have any special offers for our audience today? And tell us how.
Yeah. So Trivium Group does do a free audit. There is you can go to the website. There's a link there. We also have, or people can email me. They can get the link. My email is just vince.m@triviumco.com. But we do have that. And then also, I still do my own consulting. I have my own clients that I still work with. So if people want to reach out to me, honestly, LinkedIn is they can email me, like I just said, or they can find me on LinkedIn. Pretty sure I'm still the only Vince Montero that pops up. That's like, okay, this guy's in this space and this other person isn't. I don't think there is any other ones. So hopefully I should probably check that, but find me on LinkedIn and send me a message and say, hey, want to take advantage of, offer with Trivium or just a 1-hour consultation with you. And I'll do a deep dive, just like you do, Amy, just do a deep dive into the account and figure out, what their needs are. And if I can help them, great. And if I can't, then I know enough people in the space that will be able to.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Vince. We really appreciate you coming on today. So much value, lots of great tips. Everybody, look up Vince on LinkedIn. Take him up on his offer because I'm not giving a free consultation. So you can learn a lot from this guy. Like, get there, get
I've been doing it a while.
Exactly. Get that free audit from I don't know what words I'm saying today. Get that free audit from triviumco.com. And Vince, again, thank you so much. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you guys on the next Wednesday Wisdom series. And don't forget about the AI Summit. It's next week. All right. We'll see you guys there. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.